Good afternoon, everybody. As Phil says, I'm Andrew. That's me, Head of Corporate Affairs at Scottish Water. Just moved into that post, having spent nearly all of my time at Scottish Water as Head of Comms, and we're just reconfiguring some structures and some roles. So I've moved into a kind of more expansive Head of Corporate Affairs role across Scottish Water. So I'm going to speak to you today about two of our flagship customer campaigns, customer behaviour campaigns. When I was pulling the slides together, I realised it spanned 6 years from the first conversation about the first campaign that I'll talk to you about through to the second one that I'll run you through. And that time span mirrors my time at Scottish Water. So this is not just a timeline of the campaigns, it's also a timeline of the work that I've undertaken and led on at Scottish Water. Purpose. Phil's already mentioned it. Without purpose, what do we have? Corporate Affairs in Scottish Water is a team of around 40 people. Some of those are public affairs and parliamentary affairs specialists. Some of those work at a regional level, working on some of our big capital investment projects, multi-million pound programme of capital investment work. Mostly all about water, mostly all about wastewater services. We've recast our purpose as a directorate, so we've got a very clear mission and a very clear focus. I won't read it out to you, and I think that the slides will be available after as is the content of the presentations. So that's our purpose under which all of our work takes place. The purpose for showing you this slide before I go into the presentation proper is just to give you a flavour of the scope of work that falls under my directorate. So everything from in at the heart of Parliament, we're publicly owned, responsible to government, so Parliament and public affairs is really important to us. Campaigns and marketing, media, including managing incidents when things go wrong, and they do go wrong. Hence, I've got two mobiles on the desk there to light up. We're dealing with an incident just now. I've got a team on it. We've got regional engagement. We've got our Top Up Tap programme, which you may have seen taps in your local communities. Plethora of digital channels and content required for those digital channels, and events, education, partnership, sponsorship. So there's a lot in the remit. Scottish Water, as I said, publicly owned, 5 million people we serve from Shetland right down to the Scottish borders, rural communities, huge urban communities, the full range across Scotland. And we are publicly owned. Our charges come through council tax, and I think Stephen's going to touch on council tax later on. So our charges are all wrapped up in the council tax payment system for both water and wastewater services. A bit of context to set the campaigns in focus for you. So back in 2017, we were set a mission by our then Chief Executive to dial up people's appreciation of what we take for granted every day, our tap water in Scotland. Lots of anecdotal stories about how great people, what people think about our tap water. Lots of stuff on Twitter, tap water wars, which country's got the best tap water right across Europe and the world. We wanted to dial that up. We had a charge increase profile coming. So we knew that charges had to go up over the long term to pay for future investment to deal with things like ageing assets and climate change. So we needed to dial up the sense of value that people had in our core product. So we came up with a campaign profile that was described as being always on. So the timeline that you see there from 2017 is when the first conversations happened, and 2018 is the launch. So that's a 6-year profile for two of our biggest campaigns, Your Water, Your Life, moving into our second campaign, Nature Calls. And right in the middle, I nearly wandered there, sorry, right in the middle with the pandemic to deal with as well. So that just gives you a sense of these are not just quick hit pieces of work. These are long-term, sustained, funded campaigns. Your Water, Your Life, going back to 2018 and the launch. Round about that time, the Blue Planet was on television. Everyone's talking about the plastic tide, single-use plastic. David Attenborough was everywhere. The Blue Planet effect was in full effect. We were looking at, we put insight at the heart of the campaign. We looked at why people buy water. Why do people buy single-use plastic bottles of water when in Scotland it comes through your tap, it's high quality, you already pay for it. Why would you pay for it again through single-use plastic bottles? We were looking at where people bought water. You know, where are the kind of connection points that we can influence people? We were looking at the barriers and the motivators for changing those behaviours. We wanted to get our product into the hands of our customers. We wanted to dial up our sustainability credentials as an organisation, a service that relies on the environment. We wanted to bring about that behaviour change, and we wanted to dial up that emotional connection. We put creative at the heart of the campaign. Partnerships were hugely important to us. We spoke to a whole range of organisations across Scotland and beyond about the notion of single-use plastic and refill using refillable bottles. Put some tactics in place. We used social media heavily. We built a microsite at the time for the campaign to live. One of the key elements of the campaign for Your Water, Your Life was our top-up taps. So these are public space drinking taps, free public water at the push of a button. There's one just round the corner in Buchanan Street, halfway up, if you're so minded. We've got a number across the country now. As I stand here, we're about to put our 100th tap in across the country. So these are very visible community touch points for Scottish Water. Also a bit of PR gold in them as well, which I'll come on to. And I'll show you the TV ad, so this should work. Again.
Scotland's a wild and lovely place.
But there's a change we must embrace.
Just Chill and Choose our very own source of pride.
Scottish Water.
On tap.
And fresh, cool, clear inside.
Scotland's water's world class.
No doubt.
So, take a refillable bottle.
When you go out.
It's your water, your life.
Top up from the tap with Scottish Water.
Fresh, cool, clear.
And only available right here.
So that was our, I should just click that down and it should move again. Yeah, okay. That was our TV advert for Your Water, Your Life. Focus on the refillable bottle, dialing up that whole messaging about you can stay hydrated on the move. You've got access to it at home. So, you know, there's that aspect of it. But when you're out and about, we're going to facilitate, we're going to be part of this movement about helping you stay hydrated, helping you save money, and helping you protect the planet by preventing single-use plastic and plastic litter by providing these top-up taps across the country. There were three key messages: good for you, good for your pocket, and good for the planet. They kind of anchored absolutely everything we did when it came to the messaging. And we had loads of fun doing it. It was fantastic. We've been everywhere with our top-up taps. We've been to the Royal Highlands Show. I'm going to be there next Saturday at our stand with our top-up taps. We've been to the Glenfinnan Viaduct. We've worked with the police at COP26, the biggest policing operation I think that they'd ever had at that point. And we went into a hydration partnership with the police service. And we've created our own tap map, so you can see at a glance where all the taps are across Scotland. And there'll be more going in. Programme runs to March 2024. When I said there were PR gold, I wasn't lying. At a local level, really hyper-local level, right through to kind of national corporate milestones, these things are gold for us, and they're kind of a Trojan horse for the campaign. Through the taps, we can speak to local media, we can speak to broadcast media, we can speak to community groups. Community groups, we asked people where they wanted a tap. We were inundated with locations for where people wanted to put these things. There's quite a process behind putting them in the ground, I have to say. It's not straightforward. You need to link in with the main supply network, and public health is a key part of it, but they are PR gold. This is just a snapshot of the positive coverage that we've had from it, and our whole team, that team that I showed you in the earlier slide, the whole team has been across the top-up taps, engaging with stakeholders, and engaging with media and engaging with communities. Key part of the campaign. They're tech enabled as well. They're not just a touch and go button and you get water out. There's a logger in it, high-tech logger, and we can track water use through the top-up taps. And we're just about to hit 5 million equivalent single-use plastic bottles saved through the use of the top-up taps. Evaluation, I'll touch on evaluation in terms of lessons learned at the end, but we tracked everything, we evaluated everything. It wasn't good enough to say, yeah, it was well received. We tracked everything and we put some real science behind it. So that advert that you saw and iterations of it went through 8 phases of activity, and after every phase we took the data, we assessed it, and then we kind of adjusted what we needed to be doing. So there's some of the kind of key highlights in terms of what our surveys were telling us. Overall perception survey saw, again, touching on trust, 79% trust level in Scottish Water as an organisation, 91% satisfaction score, 88% people thinking Scottish Water was world class, which was up year on year. 71% feeling more positive towards Scottish Water, having seen the tap content, and 67% seeing Scottish Water leading a movement to reduce single-use plastic. So some quite significant results, and we worked with a data company to run those tracker surveys for us. And this is also part of the behaviour change piece. So the baseline, you'll see there, 55% of people said they were willing to carry a refillable bottle, reusable bottle, but by 2023 that's gone up a whopping 19% and sitting at 74%. So part of the goal here was for us to be part of this movement and part of this, help facilitate that, and that's where we've got to. As I say, 5 million equivalent, 5 million bottles of water equivalent. And interesting, some anecdotal stuff that we also do social listening on, people talking about buyers' regret when they forget to take a refillable bottle like I did today. Apologies, the team will be delighted with me. Much like the kind of plastic bag buying at supermarket checkout. So you see many more people walking about with and using refillable bottles. Big one for us, it's given Scottish Water a new relationship. We wanted to adjust our posture from what we had done before, and it's given us an established new relationship with our customers. Along the way, we've modernised the old Victorian water fountain notion. I think you'll see them in your towns and communities. We're reducing plastic, and we're dialing up that kind of emotional bond and the impact on our environmental credentials. So that was Your Water, Your Life. That first point there about giving us a new relationship with the public is intrinsically linked to the next campaign, which is Nature Calls. So through all the learning from Your Water, Your Life, and the adjustment and the movement of people's perception and trust and awareness of what Scottish Water is, and what we do, the next big challenge for us was around the less glamorous world of sewage and sewers and sewage blocks and wet wipes. Big issue for us to tackle. 36,000 sewer blockages in Scotland a year, 100 incidents a day broadly, cost anywhere between 7 million and 8 million a year to unblock those. 90% of wipes contain plastic. which was the kind of new news for the kind of heart of the campaign. When we did customer testing on some of this stuff about what would work and what wouldn't, people genuinely didn't realise that wet wipes, many of them, the majority of them, contain plastic, and 80% of sewer blockages are caused by wipes. There's a big playback to customer service, because guess who they phone when their sewers get blocked? They phone Scottish Water, and we have to go out and clear it. But it's an issue that's caused by putting wipes down into the sewer system. So again, we put insight right at the front and centre of how we built the campaign. We looked at what were the blockers and the challenges, as well as what would motivate people. A lot of people said, look, that's your problem. I'll do what I need to do in and around the home and domestic setting. It's your problem to manage the sewers, crack on. I'm just me, what difference will it make if I don't put wipes down the toilet, flush them away? We've all got enough to worry about, and no one really wants to talk about sewage or any of the other issues, including period products that also get flushed down and also cause blockages. There was a bit of denial. 74 people said they never flushed wipes. That's not quite reading through to what we're seeing in our operations systems. Lots of confusion over labelling. This is super interesting and super complicated. Lots of wipes packets say flushable. They're made with plastic. They take hundreds of years potentially to degrade in the sewer network. So there's massive confusion over labelling. Next time you're in a supermarket, and I've done this I don't know how many times, got lost in a supermarket and my wife's come to find me and I'm in the wipes aisle looking at all the different packaging about what's flushable and what's not. So yeah, lots of problems, lots of hurdles to get over. There is an ick factor to this. If awareness of Scottish Water and what we did on the water side was low, and we take that for granted, because you're not being charged directly for it, the awareness of what we did on the wastewater side, what we do with all that water you use, or that falls from the sky and runs into our sewers, is even less. So we'd quite a hill to climb, and actually talking to people about this stuff is challenging. They don't want to think about it. So we had to deal with that. But what we did was come up with a creative solution that wasn't hectoring, it wasn't finger wagging, it wasn't customer blaming. It was, how can we work together to make this better? We listened. We built on what we'd established during Your Water, Your Life about our environmental credentials and our sustainability credentials and what we could do to reduce single-use plastic. Your Water, Your Life, it was bottles. Nature Calls, it's wet wipes. People were more than happy to be part of a movement to make an impact. Lots of questions coming in about what can I flush, what can't I flush. You might have heard the 3 Ps, pee, poo and paper. That's the only things you should be flushing. Even if a wipe says flushable, you do not flush it. And we grew that positivity towards Scottish Water as a brand by working together to make a difference. So no shock tactics. It was very much come along with us, be part of the journey. When nature calls us, the world to save, bin the wipes and join the wave. It's very much talking to being part of that movement, and you'll see the creative beginning to come to life there. And hopefully this will work.
Scotland's a wild and lovely place.
But there's a change we must embrace.
Like little things when you're in a rush.
Trouble can flow from what you flush.
So many wipes are made with plastic.
The environmental damage can be drastic.
Wipes block pipes, spoil beach and river.
Harm fish and birds and last forever.
Now climate change and wilder weather mean we all must work together.
Together we can turn this tide.
Don't flush wipes, protect the seaside.
So when nature calls, there's a world to save.
Please bin the wipes and join the wave.
So one of the big elements of this campaign, and what made it really different for Scottish Water, we're government owned at the end of the day, was we wanted to kind of push for a ban on wet wipes that contain plastic. It wasn't just about saying to customers, bin the wipes until we're blue in the face. we wanted to do something above and beyond that. So we went and pushed for the ban on wet wipes that contain plastic. It was a bold step for us. We had to get a whole bunch of people governance-wise on board with that approach. And that has been a central part of our campaign. Wasn't just about us though. There's numerous organisations in the room here today. We worked with a whole range of organisations across Scotland to both back the ban and back the campaign. Depending on which organisation you were with, you either backed the campaign or backed the ban. We had a couple that were backing both as well. So you'll see the range of people, range of organisations there. And we also did some really proactive media work, working with the Sunday Mail as well as part of the campaign push out and launch. The results, again, through extensive evaluation, quite in-depth evaluation, 74% a rise in people aware that wipes contain plastic, 72% aware of how to dispose of them. So there was a kind of awareness raising piece. There was an attitudes piece, which was about backing the ban and changing that behaviour, and that brand building piece. And you'll see the bottom point there about 81% trust score in us as a public authority, public service, trying to do something positive and good. And tracking it in real time, we're looking at the number of chokes that we've got across the system, across the whole network in Scotland, and we're seeing a 10% downward trend in blockages. That obviously kind of speeds up when we've got TV advertising, very active social media, and it's important to stress that Nature Calls is on and we're still doing Your Water, Your Life at the same time, so we're not switching one off and the other on, we're just dialing up and dialing down accordingly. And real world impact, just conscious of time, internal engagement, both campaigns have been fantastic for engaging internally and across our kind of wider networks with our partners, including supply chain. I just saw a thing on our Yammer group before I came into the building with talking about the top-up taps, and employees across the organisation talking about how much they love the top-up taps. They're really proud of them. So it's a great way to celebrate and engage with employees. We're saving the public purse, which is really important. Monetary financial value is important. We've worked it down to how much it costs per choke to clear. And if we claim just 50% of the reductions in sewer chokes, there's financial savings that we can point to as well. And we're having to kind of justify our spend as well. So we're having to report all of this back in through the structures you would expect to have in place. We're reducing CO2, we're building brand reputation, protecting the planet. But probably the biggest win is demonstrating real world impact. This is about comms sitting right in the centre of the organisation, influencing not just the direction of travel our organisation goes, but influencing government. And a ban is pending. There's a ban coming on this stuff. So we've been part of that and pushed the agenda. I think that's me in terms of those slides, and I go into Q&A. I just wanted to finish by saying, I was thinking about this coming through on the train today, thinking about lessons learned. Right, all of that's great, but what did we learn from it all? What's not, there's a lot, that's information heavy, right? I get that, the slides have got a lot on them. Coordination is everything. What you don't see on that is the structure that we put in place to deliver both of those campaigns. Numerous people right across corporate affairs and beyond in Scottish Water. External support as well from a creative agency, from a data agency looking at our kind of reach and engagement. And that coordination was everything. So we didn't have blue on blue instance. We weren't competing against ourselves. We knew what was happening, where it was happening, when it was happening, and who was delivering it. But at the same time, we were absolutely ready for the unexpected, and we've had a few moments like those. Evaluate everything. I hear the phrase quite often, oh, it was well received. what does that mean? What does well received mean? How can you claim that as justification for the success or otherwise of something that you've put this amount of investment into? That evaluation gives you evidence. And if you're looking for budget, if you're looking, and we have been quite creative with some of our budgets here, that gives you the evidence to go and budget for even more. Yeah, I think that's me. So hopefully that's been interesting for you, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
No, thank-
Amelia's, I don't want to scare you from asking a question, but Amelia's got a mic at the back. So do you have any questions? I've got one for all of you. How many of you have used a top-up tap? Right, you use one. Yeah, and another one. I remember I remember being in Paris years ago, actually, and a friend of mine was living there, and they've got loads of water fountains around Paris, and he was showing me then that that's the way he gets away with not ever buying any Evian or whatever it is they're drinking. So he's always using. We
did a field visit to Paris, which I didn't get to go to, but
yeah, right. There were loads of them around the city. Any questions, Gemma?
You mentioned about for the Your Water Your Life campaign, and you kind of canvassed you canvassed the public about where they wanted the taps to be.
Yeah.
Was that something that you used social media for, or what channels did you use for that?
We did a whole range of things. A lot of it was just, we made them very visible, and we set up an email address for people to contact us. So we're budgeted to put so many in the ground, and we've outstripped that demand tenfold plus. It was coming in through our contact centre, it was coming in our customer engagement centre, it was coming in through our kind of top-up tap team email address. Our regional teams were going out and speaking to people. People were seeing media coverage locally and word of mouth spreading it. So it kind of went viral for a while, and the team were a little bit like, whoa, struggling to deal with it. So, and we'd love to say yes to every one of them, but we can't. We're not funded to do that, and we were asked for some pretty bizarre locations, I have to say, not going to lie, which required some diplomatic responses back. They have to connect to the water network, and you would look at some place and go, well, surely that's a no-brainer, but if it doesn't connect to the water network, it's difficult to go in. So there were a range of ways that we kind of took in that community request stuff for tap locations, and with a full team managing.
Cool. Thank you. Anything else? Start over there. Thank you.
And just as a result of the campaigns that you've done, have you noticed an increase in positive engagement from customers as opposed to just the kind of normal sort of complaints via social media or through your contact centre?
Yeah, we still get that. It's fair to say, especially around the slightly incendiary issue of sewage and waterways and rivers just now. So we still get negativity, but the community's felt a real ownership towards the campaign, and particularly the top-up taps. We did a whole lot of work around different businesses, different sectors in Scotland. Hotel, tourism, travel hubs. We worked with Edinburgh Airport and Glasgow Central Station. So even where they weren't our top-up taps, if you go through Central Station after here, you'll see 2 refill locations, which is totally backed with the Scottish Water branding. They're not our taps, but we worked with Network Rail to kind of make that happen. So we're keeping people hydrated on the move, and there's queues every time I go through Edinburgh Airport at the tap there. So there was a real positive wave came from Your Water Your Life. There's no doubt about it, and it had a different posture to the Nature Calls stuff, which was a bit more pointy and a bit more kind of hard edged. The communities love these things. They were, anytime we went to a community, say, we're putting a tap in here based on our assessment, and we had a criteria at the start. They loved it, they took to it. And then we got sort of local sustainability and environmental groups coming and saying, okay, could we get one here? There was one in particular in Callander, I seem to remember, a really active local environmental group, desperate for a top-up tap, but we'd already put one in Stirling, and we were going round 32 local authorities trying to put one in every local authority area, and then we would do the next wave. So it was always coming. So yeah, there was a whole range of requests and kind of approaches to us. But yeah, there was a real positive wave from it, which, as we've focused more on nature calls and we've focused more on banning wipes and binning wipes, we do need to go back and dial up your water, your life to kind of maybe reclaim some of that positive, net positive feeling.
Thank you. I have one last question for you. What is your favourite mountain then to climb in Scotland, as you're on the board of a mountaineer in Scotland?
Oh, that's a difficult question. Probably up in Glencoe.
Right.
I've done all the mountains up in Glencoe, and you can't really beat it for dry.